our government online space, to put it that way. What have we seen changing in terms of, there's been higher demand for online services, even from government. Maybe just paint a picture for us as to how much has it increased, or, the demand for online services, especially with the pandemic having, thrust us into a different space.
Thank you so much for that question. I'll first of all say where we are in that space. As the ICT Authority, we've overseen, or rather we've project managed the development of 9,000 kilometers of fiber, which goes right down to the level of the sub-county. And this is highway fiber that connects the sea cables to the rest of the country, down to the level of the sub-county. We also have an ICT infrastructure master plan that we have developed, which would like to see that grow to 50,000 kilometers of fiber, because I think through Koi's presentation, you can see it's not just about the urban people, it's also people down to the rural areas. And with that, I'll say that, as you say, is government using internet more? Yes, it is. But what is it using it for? It's using it to connect with other parts of government, but also with the citizen. So it's no use connecting government if you're not also connecting the citizen. And that's why we have to go right down to the lowest level and make sure that everybody has high-speed connectivity. We also have 1.1 million devices in just under 22,000 public primary schools, which we have delivered. And we have trained more than 300,000 teachers in ICT. So in the area of skills, it's far from perfect, but I think this is the biggest project of its type anywhere in the world. So the potential is there, and I would urge everybody here to get involved in getting your local public primary schools to use the technology more, because the opportunity is there. And we're working in various ways, but I've taken that Governor Chepkwony has warned me not to let the cat out of the bag. But in the next couple of months, you're going to see other things we've done to innovate in this area. Obviously, the COVID pandemic has opened technology to every public servant. Even those who are ignoring it in the past now have to use it in order to attend meetings, in order to communicate in various ways. And this is a huge opportunity for our country, because a lot of it didn't have to do with technology. It had to do with attitudes and acceptance. And the positive of COVID is that it's created a change of attitude and much greater acceptance and greater use. And all of us know that using technology is not just about being trained. It's about actually making it part of your daily or weekly experience, and therefore learning new skills on the go. So I'll stop there because I know everyone else has to say something.
All right. No, I just wanted to pick up on that before I move to the next person. So where are we in terms of there's the concern about access to internet, and there are those people who are in the rural areas. You've mentioned that we've been laying, you've been laying a lot of fiber optic etc. to try and increase access, because the child in Nairobi who's going to be able to do school full-time online is still going to be subject to the same kind of examinations as one who is in a very rural area. So how far are we in terms of just trying to bridge that disparity?
Okay, so the fiber that we build is like highway. So Thika Superhighway is great, and it's created a lot of access. But if you don't have the feeder roads, Yes, you'll get there to the end of the highway very quickly, but you need all the other kinds of roads to take you where you are. So the first phase of our project did not have a connectivity aspect because of the cost. And therefore, yes, it is true that the model we have, which I think was referred to by Fawzia in her presentation, is that we load the content onto the device, and we have a method where that is occasionally done now and then. So the children in rural areas get exactly the same content as the children in urban areas. But of course, we want to move towards connectivity where this can be instantly delivered. It's not the batch mode, it's an online mode. But we're going to have to set our priorities as a country, because this is costly, and I don't think we've talked very much about the cost of technology here, but it's a huge cost. And therefore, it has to have huge value. Yeah, so it has to be worth the amount of money we're going to spend on it as taxpayers. And that means we have to think very hard about how we're going to get this additional value that will justify the additional cost to the taxpayer of modernizing our education. And it's not about platitudes of just saying technology is good. Yeah, you really have to think very hard about, yes, it's good, but is it good to change from 1,000 shilling textbook to a 25,000 shilling device for the child? Are you going to get 2,500% more value out of the device than you're getting out of the textbook? You have to do that.
All right, thank you. We'll come back and touch on the aspect of...
But everything is happening in silos. So we need somebody to bring this stuff together. And if you ask me, my straightaway solution is the innovation hubs.
Daktari. I think mine is more, partly could respond to what she said because it also touches on the national government. And then you talked about cost. For those of us, who may not really understand what it costs to set up these kind of systems and to facilitate a more efficient and seamless digital environment or ecosystem, maybe you could just give us a ballpark kind of idea of what exactly it takes to have that kind of ideal and where we are at, so that we know, okay, it takes 100 shillings, but right now we only have 20, so we can understand what to expect.
Okay, let me turn your question around, because every government spends a lot of money on certain things. And most of them spend more than they have. I think all of them have been talking about their national debt, even in COVID. And I think even in Kenya here, we've been discussing whether we have too much debt, national debt. Now, countries borrow for the same reason you borrow. It's because the big purchases, which you think that are going to make a big difference in your life, you invest now for the future, believing that you'll be able to pay for it. And therefore, in Kenya, as long as we're growing economically, we can actually borrow. I'm just saying that whatever we borrow for must deliver, because if it doesn't deliver, then you have a debt which you cannot pay for. So the conversations we should be having is, and we cannot avoid investing in this technology. It costs billions, tens of billions. Yeah, so apart from, say, the road infrastructure and education, technology is another big spender. But it has already delivered. Can we even measure what mobile money has done for our economy? I believe, as Koi was showing us those figures about how many people are in the middle class and above, they looked unbelievable for a developing country. And I believe that part of that prosperity has been created by moving from physical cash to fast money, which is mobile money. So if we can have other applications which have as much value, which are drawn out of this investment in infrastructure, then we don't need to fear the cost. And we have many advantages, such as having a young population. Laura has said something very important about the Internet of Behavior, and this is the last thing I'll say for now. Education is not only about content and skills and examinations, of course, in Kenya. It is also about socialization. The reason why all of us here are in Western dress is because we were socialized in a certain way, and that is why we consume certain products repeatedly. A lot of them are imported. So, lifestyle before product. We have to sell the lifestyle that will create the demand for the products that we want to sell in the future, not only in Kenya, but also in Africa. And we're not doing enough lifestyle selling and socialization. Now, how do we socialize? We can socialize through the school system. The reason why you are happy to sit here is because you are socialized through an education system which kept you sitting for 9 months out of every year for 13 years. So you have no problem sitting behind a desk. I think after our children were away, some of them actually struggled to go back to school because they had gotten used to running around. So you were socialized to sit behind a desk. Was it the right socialization for today's world? We need to think about how we're using the media and the education system to appropriately socialize our people for the Kenya that we want to form in the future. And that is our Internet of Behavior. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Quite insightful. And now when we talk about understanding the behavior, understanding the target market, Koi, from your presentation, which you talked about the different ladies there and the kind of access they have in terms of the social media platforms they'll use, etc. So for the sake of a person here who has a certain business and they want to be deliberate about who they target, a brief remark.
I'll try to be very brief, Dan.
Thank you.
Yes, there isn't enough of the conventional type of training. But we saw two ladies. One was learning makeup. The other one was learning, I think, cookery in Koi's presentation. So there's a wealth of opportunity for people to learn. Now, again, in defiance of Prof. Chepkwoni's idea, I'll share my idea. I've shared it in like 5 different forums, and nobody has taken it up. I pointed out that the average Kenyan spends around 40 hours in a matatu every month. That is the amount of time to do 1 university course. What if we converted the matatu into matsomo, where instead of having your ears destroyed with loud music, you could actually do your education while traveling. And in the 1 year, you could actually do probably all your courses for more than 1 year of university education. I believe we have to completely change our idea of training, where it's done, how it's done, and we give people the just-in-time skills in the places where they are. That's my parting shot.
Thank you very much, Matsomo. I think you're on the right station. We have been known for playing with words. Thank you very much to Dr. Katherine Getao, who's the Chief Executive Officer of the ICT Authority, Laura Chite, who's the Chief Executive Officer of CIO East Africa, and Koi Kariuki, who's the Senior Research Manager at Ipsos and who orders a lot of food online, according to what the AI is showing us. Thank you very much, ladies, for the conversation. And our next session, just before we get to our lunch break, is a presentation on demystifying digital transformation, which is going to be done